Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to Sajal Bhatnagar, Chief Digital Officer PT Allo Bank Indonesia Tbk. Please join me on stage. Mr. Sajal on the second seat. Yes. And the next one, we have Mark Jefferson, Go Chief Strategy, Research and Development Officer PT Erajaya Swasembada Tbk. And next up, we have Renaldi Tjahaya, Director of Information Technology and CRM Loyalty Kawan Lama Group. And next up, we have Madan Seduraman, Head of AI Strategy and Innovation, Prudential Indonesia. And last speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is Mandy Susanto, CEO Datalabs.id, PT Data Labs Analytics. And this session will be led by our moderator, Kinsey Lee, Advisor PwC Southeast Asia Consulting and author for People Analytics Explain. All right, without further ado, the stage is yours, Kinsey Lee.
Thank you very much, and what a privilege to have a range of leaders from retail, tech, as well as banking and financial services industry to be with us today. I have many questions for you, and I think our topic today is one topic that everyone's really interested in. Everyone here all about AI, but how do we actually maximize the return on investment of AI? I think that's one of the questions many of us, why we are spending the money, right? We're thinking, would be good if we can get some guidance on that. So today, luckily, our company, right? And without further ado, should we just do a quick first intro of our panelists today? Starting from Pak Sajal.
Thank you. Okay, Bisa. Yeah, thank you. Hi, I'm Sajal. I work with Allo Bank. I lead the retail business of Allo Bank as digital director. Good to be here, and thank you for having me here, I can say.
Thank you, Pak Sajal.
Hello. Hi, my name is Mark, the Chief Strategy, Research and Development Officer of Erajaya Digital. Happy to be here.
Wonderful.
Hello, my name is Renaldi. I'm the IT Director and CRM Loyalty for Kawan Lama Group, and I'm very happy and excited to be here.
Hello everyone, I'm Madan. I'm from Prudential. I head the AI Strategy and Innovation. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mandy Susanto. I'm CEO of Datalabs.id. We are a modern platform technology company.
Welcome. And without further ado, I think the first question I have is for Pak Sajal, which is from Allo Bank, right? And as we know, financial services holds a lot of data, processes a lot of the data, generates a lot of the data. How is Allo Bank using AI and data intelligence to improve customer experience as well as drive business growth?
Thanks. That's a very existential question for us, I would say. As Allo Bank, we are an ecosystem bank. What that means is that we are not just a bank, we are a bank which tries to embed ourselves in customer lives across different transactions that they do throughout the day, right? What that means is we are not just generating traditional banking data, which is transactions, money going in, going out, but also a lot of other lifestyle data. Now, that's an opportunity, also a challenge. In the past, this would have been a much bigger challenge because getting so many different data sources, having so much unstructured data, having so much information would just have created a lot of load on the system, and we would have always have been guessing how to process it. Today, I would say we are approaching this in four broad ways, right? Let's talk first about the first part of your question, business growth. Or so to say, customer growth. Now, in the past, we had a lot of data coming in. There were a lot of signals that we were consuming. But taking actions on that signal was more of a scheduled job. Right? Someone would collect all the data, collate, and then take actions. Today, we are able to automate most of it. And when I say automation, it's not just automation in the traditional sense of way. It's basically automation on the fly is also deciding with the quality and the quantity of data what kind of actions to take. Second, we are able to bring in a lot of real-time triggers, a lot of unstructured real-time events, which again does not fit into a table, but is able to be processed by AI today much better. Of course, there's a cost to it, which basically means we have to be a bit prudent in using it, but that also means that there's a lot of value to be generated. Third is, if you look at risk, compliance, and basically how we try and predict customer behavior, there's a lot that we can do today as well, right? Because what used to happen in the past is that everything that the customer used to do with us as a bank used to become a score. So your 20 MB, 50 MB of data would fold into 50 KB of score. And eventually, that 50 KB of score will decide how I'll treat you as a bank. Today, what happens is that first of all, market is volatile. The market is changing every single day. The situation is changing every single day. So basically, what is true 3 days ago or 1 week ago is no longer true today for most of my customers, right? So basically, today when I consume that score, I'm not just taking that 50 KB of data. I'm basically opening up the whole tree and analyzing everything that the customer has to offer. Even when they have a bank statement uploaded to us, the notes that they make on bank statement becomes insights and information. So being able to do that unstructured data analysis on the fly in real time gives me a power which did not exist in the past. Last and the most important thing I would say is how we interface with our customers. We are able to build products, customize products on the fly. We are able to customize our communications on the fly. And we are able to even change our approach, basically our home screen and everything on the fly, which in the past would have been very tough. Banking is complex. Let's be honest. I'm a banker. I don't understand my own banks. but the thing is, we don't have to keep it complex. We have to basically give a product which customer likes, is able to understand, and actually benefits it. That's about it. And with system taking most of the heavy load today, I think we are getting closer to that.
Okay, that's so well said, right? Banking shouldn't be so complicated, and AI is actually helping you simplify that process. And one thing I picked up really is around that anomaly detection part, right? As well as identifying signals from all the noises. So now moving on to our question for Pak Mark, like working with Erajaya, which is a large organization that have to process huge amount of data, right? How does data and AI actually help you identify new growth opportunities across your business portfolio?
Yeah, so actually, I was just actually in Cupertino a few weeks ago. As the only Apple premium business partner in Indonesia, I had the opportunity to fly to Apple to have an intimate discussion with other resellers in the globe, with Tim Cook, with John Ternus, which is the incoming CEO of Apple. And I think to answer your question, what the opportunity we see that AI is unlocking, first and foremost, I think is in the enterprise and education space, right? Because I think right now, organizations tend to view devices that they buy as a cost center. And primarily, the use case is more like a connectivity or an access tool. But we're realizing that with the advent of cloud and all the emerging technologies of AI, and I think even the hardware, I think what got me excited when I flew there was Apple devices right now are powerful enough to run on-device AI, right? Which means that not everything has to go to cloud. It's not saying that everything will be done on-device or on-prem, but now it unlocks a new hybrid model of delivering AI-based solutions, right? So in our case, I think if you look at our business, our enterprise business a few years ago, it was primarily providing the hardware. But we realized that enterprise and education consumers actually demand more than just the tools. They're actually more interested in what they can do with the tool. And I think for the longest time, from the perspective of Erajaya, that was not something in our periphery. It's like for us, we just provide the devices, but source the solution and services elsewhere. But we realized that if we stay within the hardware game, that's going to limit the market potential that we could tap. That's why in partnership with Apple, in partnership with other solutions partner, we've upskilled our team, we've upskilled our capability, and in turn, we've upskilled our portfolio of services. So now we're trying to evolve our B2B business from just providing hardware to now providing the complete solution. Of course, with hardware first, since that's our core business. So we're very excited because now we're at a stage where we're going to POC. Because I think with AI, the question has always been, is it implementable now? Or is it a concept that's just so far off in the future where the ROI is going to take like years? So I think now we're at a stage where there are real benefits that could be realized in the short term. And I think that's what I'm excited about.
That is wonderful, Pak Mark. And because it's always a hard balance to strike, right? You spend all this money on POC, right? But then when will people actually be change managed enough in order to maximize the benefit from these POCs? When is that point where you get exponential growth, right? So it's really good to hear that at Erajaya, you predict that that will happen very soon, right? Wonderful. And now we'll shift gears a little bit to Pak Renaldi, right? Being a specialist and market leader in loyalty, right? What's your take? How do you ensure customer data translate into actionable business decisions rather than just reports? And I think this one applies probably not only to loyalty, right, but also to other functions as well. Keen to hear your take.
So I think the most important is related the data to the business problem, right? So I really like the previous presenters when I hear his presentation, whereby they said that find the most common problem, right? I think let's start with that. Instead of we try to solve grandeur, big problem, let's solve a daily, relatable problem first, then working toward the big one. So I think that by doing that, we have a small win, and at the same time, we also have immediate quick win and related solution. So based on that, we build confidence and more importantly, build habit to use data to decide something. So we build, I think the culture of data-driven is more important than the data itself, right? The data can be there, sit lying around for, Kawan Lama has been operating for more than 70 years now. And can you imagine how big of the data point that we have? But at the end of the day, right, if we don't know how to do it and use it, and there is no culture that, data-driven culture that, fostering the usage of the data, I think the data will not be as meaningful and as useful as it's supposed to be, right? So I think that's the first thing. So first, I think we build a data-driven culture, right? Second is, and then identify the right problem to solve. And then I think number 3 is thinking about how we can solve problem quickly, right? By using this data point, right? So one of the example that we've been, exploring is how we can hyper-personalize our offering, our promo, right? Because I think that's questions that been around for I think the last 10 years, right? Everybody want to have a personalization offering, tailor-made, bespoke, right? But not that easy because again, everybody is unique. Everybody is, you and I are different. We can do a clustering. That maybe we are in the same bracket, but at the same time, we might have a slightly different approach and things. With AI, I think it will create this clustering, this personalization even more sharp, even more thorough and unique. So because of that, we can be one step closer toward that goal and dream to be have a hyper personalization offering to our customers. So I think that would be.
Thank you, Pak Renaldi. I think there are many takeaway points, right? From nudging, building a culture of data-driven culture, right, towards the more recent point that you were talking about as well. I think it's super important insights for everyone. And now, shift gear a little bit to Pak Madan, right? Because the order on my run sheet is a little bit different. And talking about insurance now. With insurance, how is Prudential Indonesia using AI to improve customer experience as well as business operations?
Salamat pagi, everyone. One of the values of Prudential is customer is our compass. So that talks a lot about how we deal with customer expectations, customer experience, how we prioritize them in terms of how we actually, line up everything else in the business itself, right? So that's a beautiful strategy and value to have customer as our compass. So from a customer experience perspective, there are quite a few things that are ongoing, and we are also envisioning to take it forward. So since I head of AI strategy and innovation, we look at innovation from taking it from proving the concept, proving the value, proving the impact, then taking it to deployment. That's a life cycle of innovation that we've seen from idea to implementation. So I would like to probably talk about a couple of things. One of the things is that we have been experimenting is early detection of critical illness. For example, cancer. How can we early detect with the data signals that we have currently and the data reports that we can get, like Nali mentioned about personalized, data variables that we can existingly use and help customers to early detect their cancers, nudge them to go for early screenings so that, in the journey, they can be helped earlier itself. This, I think, is a significant step towards customer experience itself. It helps the business, also the customer as well. Recently the patient survey, voices survey, also talked about about 50% of the patients do feel in terms of lack of guidance, in terms confused about how to seek care. So we have actually Prudential have built a chatbot called Pru Concierge, which can guide in terms of like the previous session talked about which hospital, which doctor, what, second opinions, in fact, second opinions in terms of the, the treatments itself. So all these things can happen. So along with all these things, just to summarize this, we also have collaborated with a few hospitals like MRCC Siloam, collaborated with them and conducted some health screenings for free. Which actually also resulted in a new insurance product called Pro Lady for empowering women. So these are all initiatives which came around with early detection of critical illness initiatives. This is one part I would say. The other part is a lot more about happening in the back end, which actually helps the end customers. Of course, there are chatbot which helps users to answer questions. But I would say I would like to highlight on the Polaris chatbot. It's not a chatbot, it's more of an intelligent search engine. Let's say there is a hospitalization by the customer. Customer submits for the pre-authorization for admission, right? The cashless admission. When they submit a cashless request, it comes to the team. Currently, there is a lot of envisioned ideas which I can talk about later, but currently there is a Polaris chatbot, search engine as I talked about, which helps to summarize all the scan report, blood test reports, medical reports, diagnosis form, which are all completely handwritten and unstructured. That too completely, sometimes not very good with the input quality because of the picture and everything. It reads everything and summarizes to the claims assessor, which makes things much more faster. This actually helps the LOG, what we call as letter of guarantee approval, much more faster to the customers. Though it's an internal process improvement, like I said about customer is our compass, it's about looking at how we can deliver the customer faster. Yeah, these are the two things I would like to summarize. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Park. And insurance is always a highly mature kind of business model when it comes to AI adoption, right? So I think there's a lot for us to learn when it comes to Park Madan's experience. And
I just want to add something to what Pa Renaldi and Pa Madan said. I think the common misconception with AI is that it has to solve this complex, I think your term was grandeur problem. Actually, I think what I've come to realize is that AI can actually solve very basic use cases because in doing so, it opens up time and resources for the organization to focus on the more complex task. I think that's the common misconception that AI should solve the complex ones. Actually, no, it can solve something so menial and so administrative, but that frees up so much resource and time. That allows you then focus on the more important complex ones.
Yeah, Park Mark, I think many of our audiences are nodding, right? I think you would agree in terms of starting from basics and make sure the foundation is right before moving on to some of those more fancy use cases sometimes is the key, right? So now moving on to Park Mandi, right? From PT Data Labs Analytics. So many companies are investing in AI today. What do you think separate those that sees real business result from those who don't? What do they do differently?
Wow, there's a questions there. And in fact, I feel honored here because being a system integrator company, we are in advantage of having seeing a lot of base use case of AI. Data Labs have like 400 customers, and in fact, 2 of them are here, Pak Mark and also Pak Renaldi. So what I can answer your question is basically the first thing that moves that and separates the one who see the real use case of AI is basically the ownership. That's the most important thing. Many successful AI implementations that we see is basically owned by the someone who have power in terms of business. So basically, they can see the value of it, and then also the attach some number of it, like revenue, cost, risk, and everything, basically. Now, the second thing that also quite important is basically laying of foundations of the AI. For example, like data readiness. So before the AI gone through, they are doing very boring job, like consolidating the data and also doing some data cleansing, also doing some governance. So basically, they are laying off the data foundation before the AI taking off. And the third thing is, I think the most important is basically the adoptions, the willingness of the company of willingness to allow their staff to work alongside AI. I mean, this is not easy because usually AI is, say and saw as a threat for the existing job. But basically, a mature company will see this as a complement and also to leverage the power of AI to speed up the jobs and everything, like Pak Mark say, basically to sort basically the simple task and then let the company do the complex one. I think that's all.
Wonderful, thank you, Park. And now, I think if you're sitting in the audience and you're like, what are some of the things leading companies do to really maximize the value out of AI? You should have a somewhat degree of answers, right? But now we're going to move into something a little bit more spicy, right? We're going to start talking about challenges, right? So starting with Park Sajal, right? In Allo Bank, what has been the biggest challenges that you have seen in leveraging the bulk of data that you were talking about, and how did you deal with it?
So first of all, we are a bank. Being a bank, we come with a set of compliance requirements, specifically around data protection, around how we handle our customer privacy. But I would say it's not restriction, it's actually a responsibility. And that's core to our business also. Right? So first of all, I have to take care of making sure that in an era where our data is just a prompt away, where anyone can just type anything into a prompt and generate reports, I'm still protecting my customers. And I'm still protecting myself to comply with the regulatory environment of the country. Right? That basically means we had to change structurally a lot of how things were operating. There were a lot of assumptions that come inbuilt with the organization structure, right? Basically, fact that there is a set of data analyst team who can generate data, create it into insights, reports, and then people consume, automatically creates a filter. That filter does not exist today. So from the base foundation itself, we had to rework the guardrails around which our systems operate. That said, I'm only talking about the challenge. Now, what are the opportunities? First of all, data access does not mean data intelligence. Intelligence comes with the capability to carry the context of the data. It's not just AI which need context, it's the humans who are operating that AI who also need context. And to be fair, in some of the early projects, we saw people who were generating a lot of data or insights on the data were not actually using them. They were basically just creating information and hence creating a bit of chaos also. Second, the capability to convert those insights into direct business outcomes. Now, again, that's a structural problem. Having a lot of intelligence and insights without being able to convert it into business decision, a lot of it automated, is basically wasting on an opportunity, if I have to use the right word, right? And the third is, it's not just about actions, it's responsible actions. We are custodians of people's money. People trust us with their savings, right? People trust us with their futures, their aspirations. And that is a responsibility that we cannot take lightly, right? So creating responsible action is a lot of upskilling. Again, I keep talking about structures and foundations, but it's also about people, right? Because I have the capability to operate fast. Do I have the capability to operate in the right direction while being fast? That's the critical question that we have to answer. Yeah, I would say it's a challenge, it's a journey. We are seeing a lot of benefits already coming in today, but it's a lot of benefit that we're carrying forward with a bit of caution, I would say.
What a great answer. And if you have shared similar challenges when it comes to regulatory compliance, for example, definitely speak with Pak Sajal, right, to get some tips. Now moving on to Pak Mark. Based on what you just shared, Pak Mark, I sense there has been quite a bit of learning as well in the journey of implementing AI. So from your perspective, working in such a large retail organization, what are some of these learnings that you think everyone might benefit from hearing?
I think the first is getting executive sponsorship. Because I think no matter how sound the reasoning or the use case is, if there's no one in the organization that's really driving the agenda, it will be very difficult. I think that's one. I think number two, and I think this is a common pitfall, not just of customers who want to get into the AI space, but also from partners, SIs, or even solution partners, who tend to position the ROI with a time frame that's just too long. Right, because I think, especially in the business climate that we're in now, if the payoff is just too far along, it's not saying that it's not worth it, but it may not be worth it now, right? So I think it's also how the expectations on why you're getting into AI is framed. If the payoff is too far off, then it's going to be hard, right, to justify it. Now, I think having said that, I think with Erajaya, I think one of our, I'm not saying that we're the most advanced company in AI, but I think we are cognizant that if we were to get this right, the foundation has to be there, right? So I think one of our key learning is, again, apart from executive sponsorship, I think everybody will agree at the core of AI is really data. So that's why we had to do a step back. We had to really review our data architecture, not just with the existing data that we have, but how do we make sure that moving forward, because I think an organization as complex as ours, we operate multiple stores. We have omni-channel capabilities. We have online, offline. We have enterprise business. If I were to speak for Erajaya as a holding company, we have a food business. We have a lifestyle business. So I think if the data architecture and governance isn't clean, then the capability can be there, but whether the capability delivers the expected result will always be put into question if the foundation, especially data, is, if we didn't put in the work.
two key takeaways: executive sponsorship plus a really solid data foundation, right? Thank you, Pak Mark. And now moving on to Pak Renaldi, we're going to talk about customer and loyalty again, right? What's your vision when you think about the future of AI-powered customer loyalty and retail experiences?
So I think I would like to start with a problem first, right? So I think the problem is not, people not familiar with AI, but many people using AI a lot. So I think it's not lesser, but I think we have way more like people, it's like a child with a new toy, right? You want to keep playing with it, you want to exploring it, you want to keep using it, right? So, but I think that come with a cost, right? The cost is, the governance, the data might be leaked, and then, not to mention that wasting your token and all that. Even, company as big as Microsoft say that they're reducing their AI initiative significantly due to, waste of tokens and all that. Even us in Kawan Lama, we try to limit the usage of AI, especially for engineering. We only give AI tools for a senior engineer instead of the junior one, because I think the junior one will just tell me how to create this, just copy and paste without thinking the vulnerabilities, without thinking the thing. But the senior one, we expect they can review it, human in the loop, right? So that's the thing. So that's why, quoting Uncle Ben, great power come with great responsibilities, right? So I think that's the thing that we need to keep in mind when using AI. And so that's the problem. So what is the vision for me? So I think the vision is we need, similar with data, right? I think the mindset and the culture need to be built first. So because we need to use AI responsibly, I don't believe AI will replacing us as a human, and I don't believe that AI will handle a very complex project. But like Pak Mark just say that by handling our menial tasks, right, we will have time to do more and analyze more. So that's kind of the vision that I'm heading to, right? So AI will be handling the menial tasks, the repetitive one, so we can graduate, do something more strategic, do something a better planning. So AI, not as our replacement, but how can AI augment our our capabilities, our skills? Like for example, my team has a very good analysis, right? She able to analyze and segmented customer data very quick, very fast, manually. Because why? Because they're doing that over and over throughout the years, right? So the question is, how we can if somebody new coming on board, how can this guy or girl can analyze as good as the senior campaign analyst, right? So that's kind of the idea. So how we can make sure AI can replicate this analyst and teach and help and guide the junior one to do a comparable job with the senior one, and then the senior one can graduate. How we can govern this, how we can optimize this and all that. So it's not replacing, but changing and make evolving the job desk of the more senior one. So I think that's kind of the direction I would like to see, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Pak Renaldi, for sharing very lively stories. I noticed, Pak Madan, you had a bit of a reaction, right, when Pak Renaldi was talking about the story, particularly around junior team members ended up using way too much tokens. So I imagine that one resonated a little bit also with the audience. So I'll open up to yourself first, Pak Madan. Is there anything you wanted to share?
No, I'm just recollecting with one of the conversations we used to have, which is similar to what Pak Renaldi was saying about usage of AI is very good. Let's say you're using it to build applications. You have to also know how you're guiding it, driving it from your perspective, especially design and everything has to be solution from a human perspective. from that context, I think I can relate to his point as well, in terms of making it an adults-only tool. For example, from that context, making more senior to use it. Actually, otherwise, beyond a point, if something breaks in the system, what is not working, or testing fails, I mean, we should not be in the situation to ask, okay, I have to ask Gemini. No. You should know it, not Gemini should. I just trying to connect to that point, yeah.
Wonderful. And Pak Madan, do you also see similar challenges in the area of insurance, for example? What are some of the challenges that you have seen, and what are some of the strategies that you have applied to address these challenges?
AI strategy is one of the ways to manage many of these challenges. Executive sponsorship, or data strategy as well. Yeah, having an AI strategy would make the things top down, have clarity in terms of driving this forward. But beyond the point, there is a lot of other bottlenecks that we can face, which is data availability. Data availability would be there in every organization, but most of the times we have data available to make reporting, not take intelligence out of it, because we have not stored it for intelligence per se. We're only storing it for reporting per se, for example, right? So that itself, without data strategy, AI strategy means nothing actually. So data availability is one key thing. And data, we can create data products out of it, only if we have the right data available. So we have the data products available, then our AI execution also becomes more and more accelerated. Without these, we can do use cases in pockets, but it would not actually transform the whole organization. So I would say data strategy and data availability for the AI, not for just reporting per se. And most companies have Copilot licenses. Everybody uses ChatGPT or Gemini or Cloud or whatever. But in my experience, I've seen the awareness has not equally spread to actually the right way to use it. Okay, what I'm trying to say is awareness education is key, because many a times what people still want to seek help from IT teams or their own seniors. Actually, they can solve it with AI, if they know how to even create Copilot agents. It's still not, in my opinion, as really permeated across all the levels. So awareness and education, continuous education to make people ready. It's basically a cultural part to this. Are people ready? AI is ready already, but people ready or not is a question to ask and assess the AI maturity. And it's also a slow process to take it forward. Otherwise, there is also legacy systems. You can always actually build something which is a greenfield application faster, and we can move it to production very faster. Like we had in the previous discussion, about a few weeks we can get it to production. But I would say, what about legacy systems? They are not ready yet in the companies. They have to be upgraded. That actually slows down a lot of AI use cases as well to them. So these things can bring our AI use cases to the knees. Again, this is not an overnight thing. This has to be a roadmap execution. Yeah, these are the 3 or 4 challenges I would say at the organization level we would face. Many these needs different strategies to deal with. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, Pak Madan. It sounds like the challenges are not also obvious, right? A lot of them are underneath the surface that we really have to take the time to resolve. And now, Pak Mandi, this is a $1 million question, right? And I'm sure everyone in this room would also wanted to understand, which is how can business move from AI experimentation to actually delivering that measurable business value based on your experience?
Wow. Yeah, that's 1 million questions there, as you can see. Basically, I think I would say that stop doing the piloting in isolations. That's the first thing. Why? Because if you are doing that in isolations, it means that you are doing such a technology proving. It's not really tied into your workflow, daily workflow, basically. So it's not really, you are not going to use it. It's only just stay as a demo. That's the first thing, right? Now, the second thing I think is quite important. I would say that do not reinvent the wheel. Just leverage pre-built solutions, AI solutions. For example, there are a lot of companies that has been developed. They spend a lot of time, a lot of money to develop those kind of solutions. You can leverage that, modify that, and then improve those kind of solutions. One of our customer is Jacindo. They are using our solutions to build their legal apps, and then doing this, credit for the customer, basically credit scoring for the customer. Now, the other thing that are quite important is basically the ability of divine your business concepts, basically. If sometimes people see AI as a magic box. So I would like to create, this app that can do credit scoring, as I mentioned earlier. But they do not really elaborate on what kind of credit scoring they want. So these kind of mistakes happen a lot. Basically, you need to elaborate what kind of business requirement that you want, what kind of objective, what kind of detail that you want from those solutions, and that can make the AI works for your companies.
Thank you so much. Sounds like this has some parallel with the junior team members asking ChatGPT Copilot just questions on how to do something, right?
I would like to add to this point. What Prudential has done in this space is how we can accelerate AI from AI, innovation perspective. We had set up AI lab in Prudential. Also, what is happening with Prudential Indonesia is AI innovation experimentation, which definitely starts with building it in a sandbox environment, but doesn't end there. Like, Apak was mentioning about taking it to a real world pilot to see actually if this works in the real, but actually that surfaces a lot of engineering problems, a lot of the legacy system problems that I was talking about, to use it in the real environment to prove the AI value. At least use it for 2 months in a pilot rollout scenario, and get the sign off from the real business users that actually delivers value, then take it into production. That's how we do in terms of accelerating AI use cases. Yeah.
Wonderful example. Yep.
Actually, I have a bit of a contrarian opinion versus the rest of the panel.
Okay.
I don't think AI is for menial task. The fact that all of them are doing POC is not menial. You don't do POC for menial tasks. You don't do POC for simple tasks. The fact that you're running POC means you're trying to do complex tasks. And to be fair, I would say it's a structural problem that AI efforts gets wasted. It's not the problem of the platforms or the systems that we have. Honestly, purely in credit underwriting, AI is able to do predictive reasoning for us 30% better than a human underwriter. And that's real data, that's real customer insight. In coding, in the past, we used to have 5 to 6 developers to 1 PM. Today, we have 2 to 1. And a lot of prototyping and testing is now PM's responsibility, which he's able to do much better himself, right? So I would say it's a paradigm shift. Things are changing structurally, and our organization has to change with it. And AI can do complex tasks. It can take care a lot of our responsibilities, a lot of our work can be outsourced to AI. It's just a matter of us being able to adopt it well enough.
This is getting so exciting. I'm really hoping that we have more than 1 minute for everyone to have a discussion, right? Because this is the beauty of it. Perspective from different industries, perspective from different business maturity as well. So definitely want to carry on the conversation. Any other reactions before we wrap up?
So I think for me is, I think the most important is don't forget the guardrail, right? Again, a quick story that, echoing both, equation is, so before I roll out the AIs to my team, I took the liberty of testing it myself. So I built a prototype, half day done. It's nice, I can demo it, the management like it, it's very functional and work. And then I decided to make this enterprise ready. It took me 3 months to make it enterprise ready by using AI. I keep deleting my database, there's a lot of vulnerabilities and all that, right? So, and then compared to the team that doing it manually, the so-called coding, they finish it like in 2 weeks. So I think the lesson learned is how we can make sure that the guardrails are in place, the procedures are in place, so help the AI not, minimize the hallucination of the AI. Because I think that's the game. Like I said, that's the role that we slightly transition into. So being the guardian, being the, custodian of the AI instead of the one who, doing and executing it. I think that's my thought on it.
Thank you, Pak Renaldi. That beautifully sums it up. Thank you all for your attention, and big thanks to all our panelists for sharing their experiences as well. Thank you.